This is Smithy.tv.
Hey, this is Kenny Robinson. I'm breaking down the news. Well, last night was the night of the Junos Award, which for you Americans listening is kind of like our Grammys, only without the expensive grab bags and, of course, names that you might be familiar with or music you might actually listen to. And I like the fact that Junos were named after Juno Beach, where the Canadian troops were the first ones to land on D-Day, way before John Wayne and Robert Mitchum and all the other ones we've grown up watching in the movies. And I think maybe that's what Canadian showbiz is kind of like. Hitting the beaches on D-Day, because you're lucky to survive being in the Canadian show business, especially in the music business, because there's machine gun fire coming in from all ends, and there's no support, there's no air cover, and there's no retreat. Once you're in it for good. And I think the Junos, we make fun about it. Who watched it? Who cares? But I think it's important to Canadian music and Canadian culture just as much as CanCon is. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, we shouldn't have CanCon. Get rid of CanCon so that way you either make it or break it on your own. And I disagree with that. I'm saying because of CanCon, without Canadian content on the radio, folks, do you know what? We never would have known Edwin Bear, the last song I'll ever sing for you. There would never been a Lighthouse. If it wasn't for CanCon, well, Gordon Lightfoot may have had to move to the States and become Chris Christopherson. So I'm grateful for CanCon. Without CanCon, Blue Rodeo could never be the Canadian Eagles. They may have just gone to the States and we would never have known about them or cared about them. We develop our own. And I think that the one beautiful thing, well, there's several beautiful things about the Junos, the award show that I didn't watch. I love the fact that the one familiar name that won a Juno for Album of the Year is 80-year-old Leonard Cohen. I know, many of you are saying, isn't he dead yet? No, he just sounds that way. Yes, Leonard Cohen, the poet, the gentle soul, the soulful eyes, the sexual obsession of every woman that's ever had to have prescriptions for her well-being, took home a Juno at age 80. And I think that's kind of nice. I mean, is there anybody stateside that's winning something that's 80? I don't think even Willie Nelson. Then again, he's not 80 years old. But and they said that it was a highlight for newcomers in Hamilton. First of all, anytime you can have a major music award go from town to town, I think that's great. You won't have the Grammys in Cleveland one year, even though that is where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is. You won't have them happening in St. Louis the following year. In Canada, nobody gets the Juno 2 years in a row. So that way, Winnipeg feels included, Vancouver feels included, Calgary feels included. It is the CFL. The Junos is the CFL of entertainment. And there's a young man with the name of Weekend that won for Artist of the Year Juno. And I never heard of Weekend. I look forward to the next long weekend, which might be his 2-album release. But without CanCon, Weekend may never even have had a Monday morning play. Also, there's another group that won Toronto's Reggae Pop. They're in the front of the here of the Toronto Star. Rude Boys rise to the occasion, and they won Single of the Year. Now, I listen to Canadian radio, and I haven't had the pleasure of hearing their music, and I'll have to say that certainly none of these guys really look like reggae artists. But then again, the Grammys told us that Sting and people, they were playing reggae music back in the 80s. So I guess it's not the shade, but it's the beat. So excuse me, to all the winners of Juno Awards, I say thank you and congratulations. And for those of you that want to get rid of CanCon, I say, where's your patriotism? Don't cry because Tim Hortons was bought by the Americans. Cry if there's a world that we live in where the DeFranco family would never have gotten airplay. Cry if we never get to hear about Seasons in the Sun. All these are great Canadian. Do you think the Americans ever would have let the Stampeders sing about Sweet City Woman? Never would have happened. So let's just keep it CanCon. And while we're at it, let's see if we can do something positive for the CBC. I'm Kenny Robinson, breaking down the news.